It's largely agreed upon that the days of one parent working while the other parent manages the household are pretty much gone. Yes, there are some exceptions to this. And when a family does have it all figured out financially so that they can make ends meet with just one working parent, that's really great. From the studies I have read, the children tend to do much better when a family member gets to stay home rather than a nanny or sending them off to daycare. But there's some pretty bad advice out there that just kind of surrounds the stay-at-home parent world. Before we get going, could you hit that subscription button? That way you're alerted every time a new video drops. I'm Scott Sery. I'm the founder of Know to Grow. It's the program that helps take you from having no idea how to make money as a stay-at-home parent to growing that idea, and then in the end, you get to experience success on all levels. If you're picking up what I'm laying down here, then you probably know where this is heading. And if you're not, don't worry about it. My goal was to be a bit cryptic at the beginning, and that way you'd keep watching and I could explain what I'm after here. So there's a common sentiment out there, and that comes to the stay-at-home parent, and it pops into their minds frequently, and it's across a huge swath of people, so this isn't limited to just a handful of stay-at-home moms and dads, but it's ingrained into a lot of our brains, so to speak. The idea makes its way into our minds because of what society tells us. Society is out there telling us that we need to be contributing, and really the only way to contribute is to be making money. And even though the stay-at-home parent is busting their ass to take care of the house and feed these tiny humans and make everything work, it's seen as a job of lesser importance or status. Personally, when I was first starting my business as a copywriter, my day job was as a stay-at-home dad. And I started building my business when I could, but my primary responsibility was to take care of our son and to manage the house. But for a lot of people, they don't have this side business or a small business that they can pour themselves into when they're not dealing with babies or children or cooking or cleaning and everything else that goes into the life of a stay-at-home parent. So the sentiment starts creeping in and telling them that they're not doing enough. And this shitty financial advice comes from very well-meaning people, but they say something along the lines of, you have a bunch of full-time jobs as a parent. You're doing great. Just embrace that stay-at-home job because there will always be time to work later. If that's what the stay-at-home parent really wants, then yes, just embrace it. You are doing a great job, and there will be time to work later. But for somebody that's already feeling inadequate because they're just a stay-at-home parent, that advice is actually rather toxic. And this is why. As humans, we were made to create things. We were made to be productive, to build, expand, and produce. And being a parent is doing all that. You're building a new person's life. But over the years, machines and outsourcing have taken away a lot of our creative outlets. So think back like 200 or 300 years. 200 or 300 years ago, I remember these times very fondly. Back then, if you needed food, you went out and you hunted for it or you gathered it or maybe you grew it yourself. If you needed, say, a rope, you would make one out of different plants and you'd weave them together. If you wanted a new house, you got your shovel out and you dug for the foundation and you built it out of nothing. Clothes were sewn, meals were made from scratch, and basically you created everything that you needed. And we don't do that today. But our minds and our beings still crave it. So what we have done is we've tried to replace that creativity by getting out our Instagram and scrolling through and looking at these people that grow their own food. They have these great gardens. They built houses. They do woodworking. They sew their own clothes and all these things that we want to do with our very core, but we aren't doing. And then this creates a disconnect. It creates a conscious thought that we are creating by consuming, but the subconscious gap or the hole or the emptiness of not doing what we were made to do gets bigger and bigger. And so telling that stay-at-home parent to just embrace being at home and revel in these moments and to be happy that they can stay at home is only deepening that empty feeling that they're already longing to fill. And I'm not saying you have to go out there and get a job, or you don't even have to work from home. That emptiness can be filled by creating almost anything. Just rekindle an old hobby, maybe discover a new one, or just otherwise put that creativity to use. And as long as you're spending your time on it, why not get paid to do it? That's where the Know to Grow program comes into play. I can help you discover that skill or the hobby that you're already invested in. You're already doing it. And we can turn it into something that makes you money. And so now you get the satisfaction of being a stay-at-home parent, but you also get the satisfaction of flexing those creative muscles and the satisfaction of bringing in some extra cash that will allow you to live life however you want to live it. To get started, just go to www.knowtogrow.com. From there, you're going to get started on your journey to fulfillment. And by the way, do you know what would fulfill me? Yep, a comment, a like, a subscription. I really appreciate you.